I have 4:34, and at this time we'll call the meeting of the City of Canyon to order. And with that, Commissioner Potter.
Dear Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for you sparing so many places in Canyon. Lord, we're grateful to our first responders, each and every one of them, and everyone that supports them, and so grateful. And Lord, we ask you for rain. We ask you for a slow, good rain. And we just ask that you continue to bless us. And Lord, we ask that you help the commission make decisions that are the right ones for the citizens of Canyon. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
By hand over your heart, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that takes us to the approval of the minutes of the meeting of May 5th, 2026.
If there are no changes, I move we approve.
A second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as written. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right, item number 5, public comments from interested citizens. And we do have 3 that have signed in, but I believe on specific items. And so with that, we'll go ahead and address those at each of those 3 items. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to take a moment to reflect on some of the wildfires that's happened and that we're still under advisement for. I'm going to let Chief Gwynn to speak about the situation and how it went, and then I'll go after Mr. Mayor. Chief?
Well, last Thursday, about 10 after 4, y'all might have heard it. Right through, starting out in the area of Arnott Road, Hungate, that area. We had an initial response of 3 crash trucks coming out with command staff, which I thought were going to get a good fast start attack on it. Well, it kept lightning, dropping lightning bolts between us and the fire that we were heading to. I'll just say by the time I got to the fire, I didn't have any fire trucks going. So we had a little bit of delayed response on the main fire. We had lightning strikes from that area that we were headed to over to 3331 area right off the interstate. I called from mutual aid from Randall County, where you know where my mutual aid went. We went over to 3331 to help with that one. Fortunately, a lot of those it did pay off because we were able to get quick attacks on them and stop them pretty quick. When I arrived, I was over there realizing I didn't have any fire trucks coming, other than we called for mutual aid from Happy as well. I sat there maybe in the neighborhood of 20-30 minutes, and Happy got there on scene, and they had the initial attack. Not requested. They say I know Nazareth rolls in. Next thing I know, Dawn is showing up with trucks. Not requested, but they came anyway, thank goodness. Those 3 departments basically handled the south end of that fire and got that extinguished. In fact, I was able to leave command with the Happy Fire Chief after we got started getting a handle on the south side, and he ran that whole division the rest of the time. Wonderful job. So that was the first part of it. While we were working on the south side, I did not realize how far north this had already spread. Our normal tactic is to come in at the origin area or the hill of the fire and tie in and work the flanks up to the head area. Vince, how many you and Dan were kind of working the flanks and up around the head? How many resources? Well, what you thought was, yeah. That was another thing. This fire got so spread out. We had several head fires going, and flanks. Anyway, it was pretty confusing at the time. But it reached 1714, and we were hoping to hold it there. Well, as y'all know, it did not hold there. Came on into town, and I did not realize that Chief Robinson, Tolly Robinson, with us, and Chief Jacob, I'm sorry,
Mitchell.
Mitchell, thank you. We're working a fire encroaching upon the city already. EOC was activated. Trying my best to make my way back into town, and finally did get into town. They did a marvelous job out there. They deployed some road graders out there, got some fire line cut in, and we have been talking about this scenario for years, about a fire coming in from the southwest and impacting the south and west sides of our town. Yes, we do have a CWPP and a prescribed burn and mitigation plan in place. However, we've been unsuccessful in maintaining that just due to staffing levels and all on. But I think Chief Robinson, Chief Mitchell did an outstanding job. Some good calls on evacuations. I believe the sheriff was in the EOC with us. So that provided a direct link between the two fires. I called the sheriff and requested evacuations out in the county from the hill of the fire back up to the city limits. Which I believe they were heated because out of 34,123 acres, not a single fatality. So, our public heeded the warning, best I can tell. So that was the first night. I believe we pulled back into the station around 2 o'clock or so that night. Sent the guys to, well, they got their trucks back in order and everything, and go get a few hours of sleep. Vince Stan and I stayed at the ops office for the majority of the night there, just in case something else popped up. Be ready to go. Next day was overhaul day, and overhaul day was just out patrolling and overhauling hotspots. And that was the day we had the breakout events. We had everything kind of settled down, so got the crews together at Ag Barn out on Sonsi, and we were having a few pieces of pizza. I realized I have two different types of members already. When someone looks up and sees a column of smoke just over the roadway, some throw their pizza, some jam it down their mouth and grab it. So we had that breakout that was moving directly to the west. We thought we were going to hold the railroad tracks, not be that big. We didn't. The wind was just too much for us. We did actually get some airdrops in along 87, which saved several homes. And we thought, okay, 87 is going to be our stopping point. It wasn't. Continued on to I-27. Other trucks from the Forest Service and Tiffmas trucks were working down that way, and extended I-27. Well, lost it there too. Continued on, I believe, until around Osage. Trade winds or Osage is where they finally got it. I have not even made it to the head of the fire, even to at this point to look. But I just want to say we had outstanding cooperation. We had people coming in that weren't requested. Thank God they were there. As far as Tiffmas resources, there were 36 individual assets came in. The Forest Service had released all their Tiffmas resources early that week. Nothing was forecasted until yesterday. So they got deployed a day earlier than what they were planning on coming back in. The resources that got here on Saturday, they were put immediately on the line. That's not the norm. The norm is come in and get ready for the next operation period. But all in all, 36 individual apparatuses, which roughly tell me that 36 other cities are in the Tiffmas task force group sent resources to us. I'm talking Central Texas, East Texas, all of the state where they came from. I can't even begin to name all of them. Our local people, our VFDs, they showed up that first night and really helped us out. So the fire is considered 95% contained at this time. They were hoping to call it 100% by the end of the day. However, due to this little windstorm we're having right now, they're all, the last shelter to be, so they're still working on it. On the second day of the fire, while we were doing some mop up and everything, not heard of the chocolate chip fire. It started over in very far southwest Randall County, basically where Desmet, Swisher, Randall, and Castro all meet. It ended up burning into our fire, so they have officially merged that fire with our fire to give it the total of just over 30,000 acres. As of this time, everything's contained as far as we know, and we'll continue to monitor it even after the Forest Service pulls off. We've had numerous incidents that were affiliated with that original fire that we continue to work with. One area particularly being area 1714, 1705, where the gun range, I will say now was. In fact, we were out there most of the night last night. So, that's all I have, sir. Any questions for me before I sit down? Because it's hard to get better.
Grateful. Very grateful.
I've got several motions of gratitude to give out after Chief Quinn's report. I first want to start with Dylan Meaves, if you'll please stand. Dylan Meaves, Daniel Hughes, Bob Lamb, and Chris Smart. Chris, Brennan, will you also stand with them? I want to give special recognition to thank these gentlemen for their outstanding service and selfless dedication during the wildfire response. Each one of your willingness to step into a tense and dangerous environment and operate either a city motor grader, a water truck, or just assist, or to operate our community center to help displaced citizens has shown great integrity. You have made a real difference in protecting lives and property, even though you weren't called to do it. Your calm leadership, courage, and commitment to our community embodies the very best of the City of Canyon culture. We are grateful for your hard work, your professionalism, and servant-hearted example. Thank you for going above and beyond when our community needed it most. With all appreciation, Joe Price. Brendan, thank you for your leadership in Public Works Department. Mayor and Commission. As Chief mentioned, this past weekend tested our community in ways none of us ever wanted to experience. The Hungate Fire and the Chocolate Chip Fire moved rapidly across our county, threatening homes, families, livestock, businesses. We watched as smoke filled our skies, evacuation notices were issued, and brave men and women ran toward the danger while others were leaving. But in the middle of that fear and uncertainty, something even stronger emerged, the spirit of our community. I want to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to our firefighters, our law enforcement officers, our EMS personnel, our dispatchers, our emergency management teams, our public works crew, our city staffers, and every first responder who worked tirelessly around the clock to protect our community and our county. Many of them went without sleep, meals, or time with their own families so others could remain safe. Their professionalism and courage and dedication make all of us proud. I especially want to personally recognize Chief Gwynn, Assistant Chief Whitfield, and Captain Dan Root. During one of the most challenging events our community has faced in some time, your leadership, calm under pressure, professional and unwavering commitment to protecting our community stood out in every way with your firefighters. I had the opportunity to witness firsthand the long hours that these men and their firefighters put in and their difficult situations that they had to do, and all of their personal sacrifices that each of you made through the event. Chief Gwynn, your leadership and experience helped guide the response with confidence and steadiness during an incredible, difficult situation. Chief Whitfield, your operational leadership with Dan and dedication to your crews were evident every step of the way. We appreciate your long and tireless hours. On behalf of this community, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, for leading with integrity in your hearts. Our city is safer, our county is safer because of each of you. We are deeply grateful for your dedication. While our firefighters were in the field, the tireless work of our Canyon Police Department and Sheriff's Office cannot be forgotten. Officers were directing traffic, staffing shelters, ensuring safety. Real quick. I know Chief Brush isn't here today, but thank you for your leadership in the OC of your department, as well as Lieutenants Cody McCarroll and Luke Stout. Your crew's dedication to public safety makes a difference every day in our community, especially in the instance of panic and uncertainty. I want to thank our mayor and city commission. Over the last 5 years, this community has made a commitment to public safety. Together, you have supported the expansion of our fire department, staffing, and resources. At the time, those investments may have looked like preparation for what-if moments. This weekend proved exactly why those decisions mattered. Because of the support of our mayor and city commission and the people of this community, we had more trained personnel, better readiness, and stronger operational capabilities when our city and our county needed them most. Public safety investments are not just a number in the budget. They are measured in lives protected, homes saved, and communities preserved. I have a personal thank you to Randall County Sheriff Chris Forbes and his staff, and Randall County Judge Christy Dyer for their leadership through this event. The coordination, communication, and partnership between Randall County and the City of Canyon were truly exceptional. In my time serving in this committee as city manager, this was one of the best collaborative efforts between Randall County and the City of Canyon that I have ever witnessed to this day. Decisions were made quickly, resources were shared seamlessly, and everyone remained focused on one mission: protecting the people of this community. That level of cooperation made a real difference during a rapidly evolving and dangerous situation. I want to extend sincere thank yous to the departments and agencies that responded to assist during this fire. Those are included but not limited to Randall County Fire Department, Dawn Volunteer Fire Department, Nazareth Volunteer Fire Department, Tulia Volunteer Fire Department, Amarillo Fire Department, Amarillo Police Department, Happy Volunteer Fire Department, TIFMAS, Amarillo OEM, and TDM. I want to specifically recognize Amarillo Fire Department for the extraordinary level of support they provided during this incident. Amarillo sent more than 8 teams to assist in the battling of this fire. 8+ teams. One of the largest local mutual aid responses we received during this event. Their firefighters stood shoulder to shoulder with our crews in extreme difficult and dangerous conditions. Along with their rapid response, manpower, equipment, and professionalism, they made a difference in helping protect lives and property. During the response, AFD crews staffed our station here in Canyon to answer calls within the city limits while our firefighters were in the field or resting. When we needed help, Amarillo answered without hesitation, and our community will always be grateful for the partnership and support we have. I want to also thank Amarillo Police Department for assisting with public safety operations, traffic control, evacuation support, and regional coordination during this emergency response. Their willingness to assist outside their own jurisdiction reflects the strong partnerships we have with them and throughout our Texas Panhandle. I want to do a special mention, like Dennis said, TIFMAS and Forest Service have been exceptional on this, along with Amarillo Emergency Management and Texas Division of Emergency Management, for helping coordinate resources, logistical support, wildfire, and helping with the wildfire management. These large-scale wildfire events require strong partnership and organized regional responses, and they were there to play that role. I also want to give an extension to American Red Cross, as they were there at the Cole Community Center to help provide aid to displaced families. I would like to overall give special thanks to the Randall County organization, the City of Amarillo organization, and Forest Service, our regional law enforcement and mutual aid partners from across the Panhandle who answered the call without hesitation, as Chief Quinn mentioned. It was neighbors helping neighbors, because that's what we do. To every department and agency that responded, your willingness to work together and stand beside our crews during our critical time will not be forgotten. Mutual aid and regional partnerships are vital during these events. Thank you, Chief. Good luck. I want to speak to our community and our citizens right now, as a lot of us have received hundreds of calls and texts. To our citizens, neighbors, churches, volunteers, businesses, ranchers, and countless individuals who stepped forward this week, thank you. Thank you for opening your homes, helping evacuate livestock, delivering water and food to the fire station, checking on neighbors, and supporting emergency crews every possible way. During this fire, we saw what makes the Panhandle people special. We saw unity, we saw resilience, we saw courage. While damage assessments continue and recovery efforts move forward, we remain incredibly grateful that lives were spared. We continue to pray for those who have suffered losses and for families affected by these fires. This weekend reminded us that disasters do not build character, they reveal it. And the character of this community is strong. Thank you to every person who stood with us, prayed for us, and supported us, and worked beside us. In addition, I would like to recognize John Poole and Jason and his team, along with Darren, for trying to maintain the fire at the city farm. Our city farm was grazed as it is southern edge on Hungate. I want to give a special shout out to them. I'd also like to give a shout out to Eric and his team as we lost power on Saturday and lost a lot of our upper system pressure plane. Those guys got out there and tackled it. I know there's a lot, Mr. Mayor, but we have an amazing team and they showed up.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I just, we've been through some difficult things in the last year here, and our emergency first responders have just stepped up time after time, and to me, this is one of the more difficult times. Man, just what a challenge and the sheer size of it, but the mutual aid that was involved from the different communities and all just is tremendous, and it's humbling. You're right, it shows who we are as a community, but it shows the character of those that are willing to get out there and put their lives on the line. And a lot of homes were incredible number of homes were saved. If you look at the area of fire and the number of homes that were in it out there, and I think Mayor Pro Tem has, I don't know if you want to expand more on some of those numbers, but I can say personally, Commissioner Kramer was affected, and I know that Chuck Hester had land burned. I had our family homestead was burned, and we did not lose the barn or the old homestead or major pieces of equipment. And I think Randall Fire was the one. They were out the next morning, putting some of the remaining fires out. But I think just time after time, there's stories and stories like that. And yes, there are some very sad tragedies of I think, Mayor Pro Tem, I'll let you elaborate more, but I think maybe 7 structures lost. But there's so many more that were saved by the heroic efforts of our first responders. So, Mayor Pro Tem, do you want to elaborate more there?
Yeah, I mean, TDM came out and did an assessment, and they assessed that more than 600 homes were saved. And, they lost 7 homes. Some of that can't be mitigated. But those guys did a great job. I went back and reviewed a lot of drone footage today, and it's impressive. Just how on a grand scale they do, but even like the firefighters, that are on a piece of land, knowing where to go and how to fight that fire to keep those homes safe. It's really impressive. I commend all the agencies that assisted for sure.
I want to speak up to that because we were affected, and not just our first responders response, but I think even public response too. There were private entities that were cutting fire lines through our property to save structures, and then people helping. My husband was out of town, and so my 25-year-old son was trying to get 400 head of cattle to safety, and people helping to get that done, and none of them were lost. And so I think not just first responders, but also public people that stepped up to help was tremendous. We two separate properties. The first day was one area of property we have. The second day was a whole different area. So both days, the assistance, and I was trying to do safety from a school standpoint. I was trying to talk to my son and my husband, and Sheriff Forbes was on another line and trying to keep everybody straight. And just the support from the whole community we were out. I was out in many of those areas, and to see how people were coming together to work for this city and this community and this county even, it was amazing. 2 of our neighbors did lose their homes, but sadly had to sit and watch both of them burn. But so many were saved, and I'm thankful for what everyone tried to do for everyone.
Just the intensity of the operation and talking about fire lines being cut, and I know our public works out there, and so had maintainer out there, but we had some bulldozers out there too. But just how close that actually came to the city of Canyon. And I know talking to Chief Brush, he was saying that came so close to the mobile home park on the south side of town, and thought with just one structure lighting there, we probably would have lost the entire mobile home park. So just was a close call, but a lot of heroic efforts, and really, really appreciate everything that was done by our first responders. Just great teamwork by our whole area. So with that, and it was not planned actually, or it was planned prior to, but the next item is item number 6, and it is presentation of a proclamation for proclaiming May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as National EMS Emergency Medical Services Week. And we have BSA here with us today as well. And I believe our fire folks are out probably on a call right now. But with that, I have a proclamation by the City of Canyon. Whereas emergency medical services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of BSA Emergency Medical Services and the Canyon Fire Department are ready to provide life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas access to quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury, and BSA EMS and Canyon Fire Department play a critical role in public outreach and injury prevention, and is evolving in their role as important members of the healthcare community. And whereas emergency medical services fill healthcare gaps by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventive medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine. And whereas the emergency medical services system consists of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and other out-of-hospital medical care providers. And whereas the members of BSA EMS and Canyon Fire Department are the first to respond to a multitude of emergency situations and are constantly training to respond to any possible occurrence, benefiting the citizens of Canyon daily through the knowledge and skills of these highly trained individuals who, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills and the availability of the Texas trauma system. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical service providers, now therefore, we, the mayor and commissioners of the City of Canyon, Texas, do hereby proclaim the week of May 17th, 2026 through May 23rd, 2026 as National Emergency Medical Services Week in Canyon, Texas. And in doing so, we encourage all residents to recognize and honor the dedicated emergency service professionals, volunteers, and support personnel whose commitment, courage, and compassion help protect the health, safety, and well-being of our community each day. Given under our hand and seal of office this day, May 18th, 2026. With that, yes, do want to recognize you all from BSA, along with our fire department, and again, just thanks for all of the first responders who have done so much over the years, but highlighted in the last few days. So we appreciate you all very much. So
I want a good picture, sir.
yeah, we.
Very nice person.
Thank you all.
guys.
Appreciate you very much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate y'all for being here today.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to item number 7. Consider and take appropriate action on wastewater treatment and irrigation property lease agreement.
Yes, sir, thank you. A review of what we talked about last week. The current wastewater lease expires this June 30th. The leasing plays a vital role in the city's wastewater treatment process in upholding the city's PCEQ requirements with the application of treated water. This is a 5-year lease with an option to extend it an additional 5 years. Due to the importance of this lease, the city conducted a formal RFP process for this lease, even though it is not required. The RFP submissions were reviewed and scored, and of the 2 responses, Aaron Johnson received the highest average score. After the May 5th commission meeting, the references were contacted and the responses were shared with the reviewers, who chose not to alter their previous reported scores. You've also been provided additional information that provides an overview of the RFP process, which includes a timeline of events and communications, an audit log of communications that occurred within the Beacon Bid platform, copies of email correspondence, responses to reference checks, the original RFP packet, and copies of the responses to cities. Happy to answer any questions y'all have about any of the process, any of the details that were provided, but it is staff's recommendation that the wastewater treatment irrigation farm lease agreement be awarded to Darren Johnson.
I know we have a considerable amount more information in the package. Is there any more that you all want to elaborate on?
So Joe and I, and together with the staff who put together the RFP process, went through this entire process, found it to be extremely fair, well done, well put together by the Public Works and Business Department staff. Bo headed up the team on the RFP, but all departments staffed it through and got the staffing completed. It was a very fair process. It didn't have to be undertaken in that much detail, quite frankly. Legally, it didn't have to be undertaken in that much detail. But we felt like in order to promote transparency and fairness, it would be better to have a full-blown RFP process implemented. And so to that extent, after all the staff input, Joe and I went through this in detail, found it to be extremely fair. There is no reason not to follow staff recommendation. The timing on the end of the process was put together in such a manner that it would not impair the farmer's ability to plant a summer crop, which needs to be happening right now, quite frankly. Our permit requires us to apply the wastewater to a growing crop. That's exactly what we need to be doing in order to maintain our permit compliance. So there is, in our opinion, no reason not to follow staff recommendation and award the lease to the person who you see received the highest scoring criteria based on the independent evaluator. And we would recommend, strongly recommend you do that tonight.
Yes. A comment I'll have too, and I've provided this to Joe as well. I think this is something we might want to look at. I think issues were brought up of potential timing and because timing is everything in planting crops and farming, and perhaps this ought to be looked at a few months earlier or so, just to be able to have everything settled by planting season and too. So just not sure exactly what that looks like date-wise, but I think that would be advantageous.
I think that's a good comment, Mary. Of course, you have an ag background, understand it, as Commissioner Cranmer. So, I mean, you know, the people with that knowledge, we would like to factor into the program in the future in putting together those timelines.
Thank you. Commission, do you all have any questions?
So we have all the references now
Yes.
included.
Yes.
And they basically are glowing on both sides. There's no negative for either one of them.
We do have Wade Davis has signed in to speak again, and so with that, if we don't have any more questions, then for both, Wade, if you'd like.
Mayor, at this point, I would encourage the chair of the meeting to invoke the 3-minute rule on comments.
I failed to do that the last meeting or two, but Wade, we do have a 3-minute amount of time in all to speak for. Yes. So, but if you just state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Wade
Oh.
Davis, 19281 Sonoma Drive. Mayor, Commissioners, City officials. First off, instead of sorting through 117 pages of paper, I made a small packet of relevant information to base your decision on today. I would like to address the last-minute emotional comments from last meeting stated on your agenda by Mr. Price and Mr. Hester. One, they were made at the earliest opportunity I had to address the commission on the matter after the city's recommendation was made public. And two, isn't this the system of government that our forefathers fought the British 250 years ago? The king refused to address their concerns, and so they fought and died so that we would have freedom to come before our government, be it local, state, federal, and raise our concerns to those we have elected to govern us. That is the whole point of public comments at these meetings. To be disparaged by a city official for exercising my fundamental rights before the commission is very unprofessional. First off, thank you for reaching out to my references. I made a small packet instead of 117 pages. So basically shows that we could do, just a comparison. And for reference, the top of the page, I wrote the name in handwriting. And so the point I was trying to make last month was that most of the scores that the evaluators provided were not supported by the actual information in the application of the lease at the city farm. Now that I have compared my application to the current tenant, my opinion is unchanged. The scores do not line up with the information submitted in the lease applications. So page 3 and 4, relevant experience and qualifications. As you can see, my proposed experience and qualifications based on my opponents. As I said, I have 40 years of experience, and he has 10 years. I do not have more farming experience than I do not have more farming experience than the current tenant, but he scores 3.5 points higher than I did. As far as the 8-hour interstate shutdown last year, I have known tenant farmers that have been fired for way less. Pages 5 and 6 on the proposed crop plan. Per the contract, it states that the tenant shall plant Jose wheatgrass on one of 2 circles due to high salt index in the soils. I addressed the Jose wheatgrass, and the current tenant did not. I feel like my proposal is also more thorough. Pages 7 and 8. Equipment. I have listed significantly more equipment than the current tenant, and yet only I received 1 point more than the current tenant. Compatibility. The current tenant scored 2.6 points higher than me. Now that is measured, but how is that measured based on our applications? I have never worked with the city more.
Wade, go ahead and wrap it up in the next minute.
I'm on the last little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead and wrap it up.
I have never worked with a city before, so how do they know I am less compatible than the current tenant? Also, pages 11 through 19 are the references they reached out to and the responses. All the references were uniformly positive, so how did the current tenant receive 1 point more than me? He provided one more reference than I did, but obviously I could have gotten additional references if I had known that points would be allocated based on purely on the number of references provided. The money part is only 15% of the decision based on the criteria. 85% is what I'm showing you that's based in front of you. And so that I will reiterate my concerns from last month. The scores that the city has provided the commission are not supported by applicants themselves, encourage the commissioners to evaluate the actual applications themselves and not rely solely on the recommendations of the evaluators. If you value integrity, someone that doesn't cut corners, and being a good steward of the land, I urge you to vote no on the proposed city recommendation. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Wayne.
So Mayor, I'd like for Joe to elaborate, or Bo to elaborate on something. Mr. Davis signed his proposal?
No.
Was that something that we looked for in the RFP?
Yes, it is.
Did Mr. Davis attend a public meeting, or a meeting that was held for potential bidders?
No.
Okay, did Mr. Johnson attend that meeting? Were both advised of the time and date of the meeting?
Correct.
I think that says pretty much what you need to understand about that application process.
Can I respond to that?
No, sir, you've had your three. That's all I have on this side.
You can all see who has their emergency alerts.
So I had my phone on silent, it still went off. So.
With that, I do think it's important that we figure something out here this evening. Just again, farming, timing's everything, and I think that's a piece maybe we can do better in the future, don't too. But with that, would sure entertain if there's any other questions for staff or the applicants as well. If not, would certainly entertain a motion.
I made the motion last time to approve as presented, and Wade, I want to say thank you for presenting. I don't disagree with some of the things that you've stated. But for me, we have reviewers, and I have to trust whoever's reviewing, and maybe there's something we need to look at in the future for changes to that. But like I said before, if I look at it from a biased standpoint, and if I pull out the lowest from each one and the highest from each one, then it's still going to end up at the same point. I didn't know if references would change that for me, because I didn't know what those references would say, and I don't see that change there. So I have to rely on who are the people that have actually looked through this and know the rules to give me the guidance of where I should go on this decision, and that's the recommendation has been to go with Darren Johnson's.
I have a second to the motion. Second. Have a motion second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve the wastewater treatment irrigation farm lease agreement with Darren Johnson, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes 3-2. Thank you all. I appreciate it, and yeah, hopefully we'll move within timing wise with City Farm. All
I would
right.
say that in the future, we need to look at some of that process and how that process lines out and what the timeline is of that process, and maybe be clear about how people are rated in each area, so that that's clear about what they're going to be rated on. So. Also think if attending meetings and response is going to be part of a criteria, people need to know that up front so that they know that that's going to be scored.
All right. We now go to item number 8. Consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1248, an ordinance of the City of Canyon, Texas, vacating the street right-of-way dedication in the Lair addition to the City of Canyon, being the S2 of Sixth Street, south half of Sixth Street, between North First Avenue and North Second Avenue, providing for sale and conveyance of such property for severability and providing for an effective date. Dustin?
Right, good evening. This agenda item is to consider Mr. Jed Welch's submitted an application for the abandonment of North Sixth Avenue, being a tract of land lying between blocks 12 and 13 of the later edition. In reviewing the application, it was determined that abandoning that north portion of North Sixth would not be feasible due to natural gas infrastructure that is encumbering on that area. The applicant did do a line locate, and it looked like that was gonna be encumbering pretty significantly on the north portion of North Sixth right away. So we asked to revise his request to abandon North Sixth just to that south portion. And if you scroll down a little bit. So ultimately, the request is to abandon only the south portion of North Sixth Avenue, being a lot of approximately 75 by 140. So the application for the abandonment did include an appraisal report by Mr. Jeremy Basket. The appraisal was reviewed along with the necessary comparisons, and negotiations took place, and basically the value of that property came up at $1.50 per square foot. So city staff has reviewed this request and determined that there is not a public need to retain the south portion of North Sixth Avenue, and we recommend approval of this abandonment application.
I'll move to approve.
A second. Either one of us.
Have a motion and second to approve the sale. I do have a couple of comments just on the appraisal process and Jed, nothing, I think I'm personally comfortable with this and value, but we've had a couple of appraisals now by Jeremy Basket where, you know, typically if your adjustment is, Jed, you would know, you know, for a home, I think if the adjustment is over 30 or 40%, a mortgage company will throw that out. And so I would encourage us to look at just what we find acceptable by appraisers. You know, probably a couple of things, that along with comps and how recent sales have been, but then also location. And I know some of these are difficult, you know, to find a comparable and all too on here, but I think it would behoove us to possibly come up with a policy of what we find acceptable in appraisals. And then that does give us certainly an out, you know, in some cases and all too, you know, on buying easements or so too, that we might require a different appraisal to be done in all too. So that's just my comment on this. It just really hit me on this, along with that the prior example and all too. So, with that, have a
Mayor, can I make a comment?
Yes.
Dustin made me aware that there may be a request, if the commission does vote to approve this, maybe a request to direct the conveyance to a third party purchaser. Is that gonna be acceptable?
I don't have an issue with that. I don't know if the commission does. I guess.
In other words, if Mr. Welch has to deal with someone else on this property.
It's decided, no matter who
Yeah,
has
I
it
mean,
in
the
my
money,
mind.
the money's the same, it doesn't affect that.
And I think the reason for that is, I think at the time that Jed made that application was back in January, I believe.
Right.
And so he was looking to obtain that property and then probably sell that property, you know, over the course of the time until May, and get by a purchaser for that property.
I appreciate the disclosure. I don't think that changes our motion. No, it doesn't.
No, but I just want to make the commission aware that that may be the case.
Okay.
So if anybody brings it to your attention, it's certainly, the application was made by Mr. Welch, survey was provided, all the requirements were met, and it won't change anything except the name of the grantee.
All right, with that, we have a motion second to approve the sale. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Justin. Got you up again.
Yes, yep, I'll be here for a minute.
Okay. Item number 9, to hold a public hearing and consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1249, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, rezoning the property at 211 Fifth Avenue, otherwise described as Heller's Addition, Lot 4, Block 29, in addition to the City of Canyon, Randall County, Texas, providing that the zoning district maps of the City of Canyon, providing that all ordinances and parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are expressly repealed, providing for an effective date. Request to rezone 211 Fifth Avenue from SF5, single-family patio home district, to MF2, multifamily 2 residential district. That's
Yes, sir. So Mr. Kobe Hartman has applied to rezone that property located at 211 Fifth Avenue, exactly what you said, from our current SF5 zoning, which is a zoning for single-family patio homes, to MF2, which is multifamily 2-story zoning district. So this request, if you'll scroll down to my zoning map. Colors came out a little bit different on that, but this request would change this lot to be more consistent with the zoning district directly to the east, across 3rd Street right there. You can kind of see on that zoning map, the colors aren't great, but everything on the east side there is on multifamily 3, which would be MF3, would allow for 3-story multifamily.
Which side's east side?
East side, yes, sir, across 3rd
Which side
Street.
is east?
I'm sorry,
Which side is east?
across 3rd Street.
I can't see third.
Oh,
On the right.
yes, sir. So, this area here,
Okay, gotcha.
okay, this area right here, coloring's kinda hard to see on here. This is manufactured home zoning district. All of this is at the south, it's on multifamily 3. And then the lightly colored yellow there is on single-family patio home zone. So this would continue that multifamily 3 zoning. So as part of the rezoning process, as always, we sent out notices to 19 property owners within 200 feet of the area. We did receive 2 responses. One response was in support of the requested change, and then one response was opposed to that change. The individuals that are opposed to that change did have their letter in your agenda packet there. And then they own this property. They're planning on retiring to this property. They were, I was able to get them in through Teams meeting, through a planning and zoning commission meeting. They wanted to be at this meeting but weren't able to travel. So they submitted an email to you guys reiterating their concerns with zoning, which consists of lighting, noise and privacy, parking congestion, and traffic increases are some of their concerns. So they own the lot immediately to the west is a single-family home. So planning and zoning did take all of this into consideration last Monday, with the Snows, who were opposed to it, and they did vote 4-1 to recommend approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have on this.
So we know what the structure's going there?
Yes, sir, if you scroll down, this is what's being proposed, right there. Yep, that's the site plan. So this is kind of what's being proposed. This was a preliminary site plan that was submitted. You basically have a quadplex, and then a 3-plex right there. And so we should turn this. You can see the north arrow. The home that is opposed to this would be straight up, which is the west side. So this would be this.
So if you said 10 foot off the property from the west side.
So I did look at zoning densities a little bit. I know the people that were opposed to it, feel that it's out of character. Just the house over, there's a 6-unit multifamily, across 3rd Street where MF3 is allowed. There's a duplex over there. If you do look at densities, MF2 would allow for 2,170 square feet per unit. What's being proposed here is 3,214 square feet per unit. So if he kept it single-family patio home, you could still get 4 units on this one lot. So it's about 5,000 square feet.
I'm happy to answer any questions.
I would allow that, or if you want to elaborate on the project too.
I'm Kelly Hartman, it's my business partner, Ryan. We love Canyon real estate, just a couple of young guys just trying to make a living. We understand what Canyon needs. Allows it to you guys to fulfill that. I think we've done several of these. We've been here before. What we're doing is working, so. Keep your approval. We'll be ready to
I move to approve.
We have an open
Oh,
meeting.
is it an open, is it a,
We have a
oh, public hearing, sorry.
Yes, we do need to go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there anyone who signed?
Do not have anyone who said
Then we will go ahead and close the public hearing. And we've got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? So, all in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. So, thank you. All right. Item number 10, hold a public hearing and consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1250, 1801 3rd Avenue rezoning, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Keene, Texas, rezoning the property at 1801 3rd Avenue, otherwise described as original town of Kenyon lots 11 and 12, block 20, in addition to the City of Kenyon, Randall County, Texas, providing that the zoning classification be posted upon the zoning district maps of the City of Kenyon, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are expressly repealed, and providing for an effective date. A request to rezone from SF6, single-family urban district, to MF2, multifamily 2, residential district. Dustin?
Yes, sir, thank you. So very similar to the last item, Mr. Hartman, who is here, submitted an application for this requested zoning change at 1801 3rd Avenue, going from the single-family urban district to MF2, just like the last agenda item. The property is currently a parking lot and is directly adjacent to RC3 zoning, which is our retail commercial central business area. So here's our zoning district map that you can see exactly where this lot is located. The pink is all our central business area, so all retail commercial zoning. The things that look white are actually blue, but they look white. That's your single family suburban district. And then you can see the two orange ones along 3rd Avenue on the south side there. Those are infill development that I believe the same developer has come back through and requested zoning changes there to allow for similar type developments. So you guys can look look at our zoning, there. We did send out 14 property owners, within this area. We received one response, that had a mixed opinion. That, response is in your agenda packet that you guys can look at. And then at the P and Z, we did have 2 individuals that opposed this rezoning, feeling that it was also out of character of the neighborhood there, being single-family homes. The P and Z did, have a good discussion about this lot, and ultimately voted 4-1 to recommend approval.
Can you point out to me which lot?
Yeah, yes. So we're requesting to rezone that one, the one directly north of that, and the one directly east of that. Are the two.
One with blue rezone,
The one that's highlighted, yeah, that dark.
that's the only lot we rezone.
And that's the parking lot.
Parking lot,
Yes,
rezone it.
yes.
And below it, the yellow, 2 yellow ones that are already rezoned. What's the purpose of that?
That's the central business district, that's that RC Street. And I think that's the Baptist church area. So that's all, yep.
The blue is the Baptist church lot that they sold.
That's not what we rezoned. They sold.
Yeah, that's, they sold.
They sold it, and that's what we're rezoning. It's that lot north of the church over there, kind of a narrow lot that they sold. There's a work truck that parks there and a trailer.
Same thing going there. duplex.
Yeah,
It could be a fourplex.
Let me scroll down one and you can see this is kind of there, I think, preliminary.
Where are you gonna get those pretty trees from?
Exactly.
We'll put them there. I don't know if they're-
Can you get them that big
Go
quickly?
that face, go back down, the trail that faces the road
Yes, that'll face on 18th Street.
on 15th.
Yeah, it's 18th, but yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes, sir. Yes.
Are there any questions for Dustin? With that, we also have a public hearing for this, so we will open the public hearing. And I believe do have one person that's signed in, so we have Jay Mudge who signed in to speak.
Jay Rick Mudge, here from Canyon. I own the property on the north side of it, right there.
which property?
Above it.
Okay.
With that being said, we lived there since about '86. We gutted that home, turned the whole house around inside to face at 18th Street, so it wouldn't be so busy compared to Second and Third Avenue there. Busy. I just think that this is too much with an M4 there. I don't want to see 4 families move in. You're talking 4 to 8 people, 4 to 8 vehicles, all gonna be on this 18th Street. And it's gonna just really kind of tighten it up around there. And with that being said, I don't wanna open it up and end up with that multifamily too, because also there's a vacant lot to the northwest. And I'm afraid if that goes through also, there'll be another set of apartments. I know I live in the slums area. It's slum to me. Most of the apartments and all that are a block and a half north. We're all single families in that whole block there. There's 8 or 9 people in that whole block. I don't wanna see 4 more families move in. There's no one on the west of them, 2 church houses. And just nobody else. So it's a pretty quiet little block. I wouldn't mind a smaller, maybe duplex or something to that effect. Not a 2-story fourplex that's gonna look right over that into our backyard. It's just a little bit of. That's all I have, just 3 minutes. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jay. With with that, we will close the public hearing. Listen, I was wondering, the two orange down there that have been rezoned, are those duplexes or are those fourplexes? Or Kelvin?
All of those are good zones, I can have two similar zones.
Are they duplexes or?
What's built there?
The one directly southeast, I apologize, I can't hear.
That's a lot of places, right?
Yes, sir, it's a duplex. The one southeast has two duplexes, and then the one that's up towards the north and two over, that they have as a duplex.
Quad and a duplex.
You know, that'd probably be my only question is, in this area, I know we've kind of looked at duplexes and all too, you know, is that appropriate for an area would probably be my biggest question. And Kelby, I think, my understanding from what I've seen, you build a great product and all too, and it's really enhanced the area and all too, I guess, but that would be my only question, I think, on that one.
Whether you went with a duplex or a quadplex, they're still two-story. I know the ones that you've built, they've all been two-story, haven't they?
In this particular area,
They have,
I think
yeah.
it fits well, yeah. Just a garage on the first floor.
And it could be a two-story home if someone bought it for a
Sure.
home.
That's really the idea behind it, just to maximize the lot space. Certainly could build a duplex, just for me, financially, just make it just seems more fitting for my personal situation. That's what I'll do today.
Chuck, is, same rules apply, supermajority is on the way to overturn the PSC's vote.
To overturn the P and Z supermajority.
I move we approve.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. The motion passes 3-2. All right, item number 12, consider and take appropriate action on March 31st, 2026 financial report by Joel Wright, CFO.
We're on 11. We're on 11.
Skip.
Sorry, Joel.
I did. Yeah.
He was so excited.
He was-
He's like, let's go.
Mayor Pro
I've been
Tem
waiting
was
for
pretty
how
excited
long?
about,
Just so we're clear, I don't think I've ever seen him move that fast.
All right, item number 11, hold a public hearing and consider and take appropriate action on ordinance number 1251, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, rezoning the property proposed as Unit 2 of Meyer Park subdivision as defined in the attached Exhibit A, providing that the zoning classification be posted upon the zoning district maps of the City of Canyon, providing that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are expressly repealed, providing for an effective date. Request to zone the property SF6, single-family urban district, MF3, multifamily 3, residential district, and RC2, commercial district. That's
Yes, sir, you decided you were done with me there. So this agenda item, Mr. Peter Ventura with Furman Land Surveyors has submitted a zoning change request on behalf of N&B Homes for Meyer Park Unit Number 2. So the proposed zoning request is consistent with the submitted concept plan that the city staff has reviewed and approved, I think going back to 2022. This also coincides with a preliminary plat that they've had pending currently. And so you can see the proposal on this exhibit. You can actually scroll down, zoom it in a little bit. So you have primarily it's single family 6, which is the single family urban district. Is primarily the majority of it, but you do have RC2 zoning district along the corridors and the arterials being West Country Club and FM 2590. And then you do have the MF3 zoning districts on the major streets that come into the subdivision, being Kingfisher off of West Country Club and Adobe Vista coming off of FM 2590. You can see existing MF3 zoning that was part of Unit 1, that's on Adobe Vista. Those are, I think, actively being built or most have been built. And their plan is to do the same thing with the MF3. Those are planned to be townhomes. So I can answer any questions you guys have. We did go through the notification procedures. There were no responses received. Planning and Zoning Commission did consider this and voted by vote to recommend to you guys for approval.
This does give us some additional retail we weren't expecting on those two. Is that wasn't a
Well,
reason you put out there?
the existing RC2 is where Circle K was looking at going at the time.
Right.
That one had already gone through the zoning process. This is actually was proposed on their concept plan, so we do know that this was going to be a proposed, but it hasn't.
No other questions for Dustin? We'll go ahead and open the public hearing.
No one has signed
What?
up. No one has signed up.
Thank you, Megan. Then we'll close the public hearing.
I move we approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve ordinance number 1251. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right, now we'll try item number 12.
Good job.
All right, and we will have a financial report by Joel Ryan, our CFO.
And I'm gonna present the financial statements for March 31st. This would be the first 6 months of the city's fiscal year. So turn there to the first page, first numbered page, the balance sheet right there. Balance sheet of the general fund. At this point, our cash position is 2.2 million, a little over 2.2 million. Just remind you that this is the peak of our cash in the general fund. With the fiscal year, we've collected a majority of our ad valorem tax at this point in time. So we'll see this balance dwindling throughout the remainder of the fiscal year. Similarly, the unassigned fund balance is a little over 4.3 million. There at the bottom of the page. We also expect that to decrease throughout the remaining fiscal year. We do have other revenues that come in, but property taxes are by far the largest portion of our budget. On the next page, the schedule of revenues and expenditures. Just going to make some highlights here. Again, you'll see there in that far right-hand column the percent of budget remaining. Majority of property taxes has been collected at this point, almost 98%. Sales tax is a little over budget. We should see it's being about 50%. So if you see it under 50% on revenues, that means we're over budget on revenues. If you see it under on expenses, that means we've spent over at this point in time. This just assumes that if the revenues were coming in, expenditures are being incurred evenly throughout the year, which isn't the case in most cases. Sales tax are trending up. We've seen a little bit ahead of budget so far this year. I would attribute that to new businesses, but also inflation as well. We also have a pretty nice increase in licensing fees. Majority of this contribution is coming from residential building permits, which are up after those have been down the last couple of years. Plumbing permits are also up. On the grant line item, you see it's way under budget. That's due to our ever elusive SAFER grant that we always budget for, but never get. It's $171,000
Would be nice to have that sign out.
Not with that attitude.
Same way feeling. Capital outlay, down in expenses, you see that there's not much has been spent there. The majority of that budget item is for seal coating and street repair, bricklaying, I guess. That will be incurred this summer. Also, you'll see that transfers in is well below budget. We don't make those supplemental transfers from the utility fund until we need the cash. So at this point in time, we're just living off of the property taxes, so we haven't had to make those transfers yet. Overall, at the midpoint of the year, we have a net change in fund balance increase of almost 2.4 million there at the moment, for an ending fund balance of 4.4 million.
Joel, on that page, I guess the good news is we've been off on franchise fees last couple of years. We're on target compared to budget.
It's picking up.
It's a positive.
Yeah, I expect that'll pick up even more with oil prices being up. Natural gas will likely trend after that. So as that goes up, our franchise fees will go up, both on electricity and gas.
Licensees and fees under revenues, Joel, and is that where franchise fees are?
No, franchise fees is its own line item.
So-
Franchise fees is under taxes. Franchise fees
Oh, okay, so
are
that's,
budgeted for 1 million.
Okay,
We're
49%.
about half, we're 50%, which is about where we should be.
But y'all conservatively budgeted that, right?
We did. So if it does come back because of natural gas prices, then
So it's not where it
should be ahead of
Used to
us.
be in the past. No, you're right.
Because we've seen a decline, so we budgeted correctly.
That's true. Again, it's heavily tied to natural gas prices. The history of the sales taxes is behind that. If you're interested in that, you see how those are trended up. We've been, so far throughout the fiscal year, we've been over the same month of the previous year. You can see we're quite a bit higher. I will say April was down a little bit, but May was right back up. That's not reflected here, but we've already populated that on the current schedules. So that does continue to trend up. Moving on, the capital projects fund balance sheet. This is where the debt proceeds are for the public safety bond proceeds. At March 31, we had 2.2 million. Go on to the expenditures, the next page, the expenditures and revenues. We spent only just under 800,000 of that at this point in time. The majority of that being for roofs and architectural fees, consultant. Haven't got into the actual construction costs yet. Still in the preliminary stages and all of that. But that's where we stand on the capital projects fund at March 31. Behind that is the CIP general. Nothing to really point out on the balance sheet. This is just where we have cash parked for ongoing CIP projects that are the general CIP fund. On the next page for expenditures, I do want to point out that under the capital outlay, 712,000 of capital outlay. Majority of this is for expenditures to make repairs for wind and hail from last fiscal year. And the majority of that is going to be offset with proceeds coming from insurance, which as of March 31 hadn't been received yet. We have received significant insurance proceeds here in April and even that will be offsetting a lot of that line. Moving on to the debt service fund, this is where the property taxes, the cash for the property taxes that are collected for the INS tax rate. Again, this services the 2016 bond issue for the cap, and now the new 2025 bond issue for public safety. At this point in time, we had made one debt payment, our February 15th debt payment, but the majority of this cash, this 384, this will be used to make our second debt payment, which will be in August 15th.
total for both of those, bond issues will be $365,000. So majority of that cash will get spent. We've still got a little bit of property taxes to be collected, but not a significant amount left on this for the fiscal year. So that's the governmental funds. Moving on to the enterprise funds, one more page, please. The utility fund balance sheet. So at March 31, we're at 1.3 million in cash. Move on to unrestricted, next page, bottom of the next page. Unrestricted net position at this point in time, we're at 1.6 million. And then on the schedule of revenues and expenditures, I do want to point out a few things. So water sales at this point in time, we're close to 53% remaining in the budget. Ordinarily, during these months, we would be quite a bit less than that. It's been through the winter months. We usually see the majority of our water sales happening in the summer. So we were ahead. Not a whole lot as of March 31, but we were ahead about 3.6% above what we were at this point last year. But already, I just want to kind of jump ahead of this in these financial statements, but for the billing that was done for April 1st and May 1st, those jumped us up to be about 400,000 ahead on revenues over last year, or 6.3% ahead of last year. So we start seeing a significant increase starting with the April 1 bill, which again is after the point in time that these financial statements are. As far as expenses go, we're aligned within budget on our operating expenses. We've still got some capital outlay to do. We're a lot below, quite a bit below on utilities. That will probably change as electricity prices go up again, with natural gas prices possibly going up because of oil prices going up. As you look down there, you see debt service. We still have significant debt service payments to be made out of this fund. So we have quite a bit still due there. We also have transfers to the general fund, to the golf fund, that we won't do until these months, latter part of the fiscal year. Again, as I've explained, over the general fund, when we start to need cash, we'll start moving that cash over with those budgeted transfers. Change in net position as of March 31, 858,000 increase. The golf fund. We're going to go ahead and skip to the schedule of revenues and expenditures for golf. Not much to speak of on the balance sheet that's changed at this point in time. I did do, Mayor, as you requested, there at the top, got charges for sales and services. For the types of sales that have direct cost of sales, I've set that apart so that you have a net profit there on the sale of those goods. So what that includes is pro shop sales, grill sales, and also alcohol sales. So as of March 31, we have net profit of 65,000. That's a 30% net profit margin. So hopefully that helps you see kind of what's going on those type of sales. Golf services, this would be like green fees, cart fees, range fees, all of that is in golf services. And you see that is over budget. So we've been extremely warm throughout the winter. Golf is way ahead on their statistics. We talked with Casey about that during the golf budget meeting already. Excuse me. And so looking for it to be a very busy year throughout the fiscal year. I think they're already getting tired out there. That also explains why the expenses are a little bit over budget. Just the level of activity at that point in time, it's pretty significant. Overall, at this point in time, though, we haven't transferred our cash. The budgeted transfers, 418,000. We've not
we've not transferred any of that yet. So we do show a loss here. We haven't needed the cash in the golf fund yet, so we haven't made those transfers yet. But we will be doing that by the end of the year. So if we had done that, say 6 months worth, we'd about be break even right now on the golf fund. And we're not even to the busiest time of the year.
Joel, I do appreciate you breaking that out, and so, with the cost of the sales up in there, so are we with Casey then, are we looking at, what that profit margin is off of the sales, or?
He's aware of this.
Okay.
30% profit margin's pretty good. And that's pretty much in every category. Pro shop, grills a little less profit margin, but the alcohol makes up for it. So overall, for all three of those categories, it's 30% profit margins. It's got marked up 30%. Following that is our CIP, enterprise CIP funds. Nothing to really speak of significant here. We do have a few projects that we're still working on. And this is just where that cash is, both from previous bond issuances, 2023, whatever's left of that from the golf fund, and then also for the 2025 series that is building the station to service the new development to the north. So those projects are ongoing, and you can see there on the last page of the financial report the activity at this point in time. Again, we're collecting the CIP green fees, that part of the green fee that's specifically designated for servicing the Series 2023 debt. That's the $111,000, and you see there we've serviced some of that debt, the $235,000, and then we've had a little bit of expenditure, $45,000, not a whole lot of expenditure left. We're just finishing up some projects around the golf course, including the restaurant. All the highlights I have for the financial report. If you have any additional questions, I'll try to answer those, or I can get you answers if I can answer them on the spot. Overall, we're in good shape, mid-year.
A second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the financial report. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 13, consider and take appropriate action on March 31st, 2026 investment report. Joe.
The investment report consists of two different reports. The cash position, cash and cash equivalents is this first part, and then the second part is the schedule of secured deposits. This first part is reporting on our cash position in relation to our policy for cash reserves. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it's going to be addressed in agenda item number 15. But as you're aware, we've been under our policy for quite a while now. And this just shows you where we're at as of March 31. We're $422,768 below our policy level. And this is at the peak time of the year. We've gotten the majority of our property taxes in, so that's about as good as the general fund look for the fiscal year. Utility fund is ahead of the minimum quite a bit, or not quite a bit, just a little bit, but that will probably maintain about that level I would expect throughout the year. Any questions on that part of the report? Again, we'll speak to that more in item 15. The other part is the schedule of secure deposits. This is just a required report that we make to you that's required by law to show that the bank is keeping the city's deposits adequately collateralized as they are supposed to in accordance with our statutory contract and also in accordance with law. So as of March 31, our bank deposits, the bank balance was a little over 32 million. They had securities pledged at 34,875,000 market value. And so therefore we're sufficiently collateralized as of March 31. And behind that is an actual schedule that they provide for us that shows the pledged securities and where that market value is coming from. Any questions on the investment?
Second. A motion and a second to approve the quarterly investment report. In favor signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. All right, item number 14, consider and take appropriate action on proposal to apply for designation of the Santa Fe Depot as a historical site through the Randall County Historical Society and Texas Historical Commission. Chuck?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity to bring this before the commission. Mr. Root and I were talking. I was not aware that this was in the works. And then later I talked to Becky Harp, who is involved with the placement of historic placards, and became aware that Brandon Shaw and Jamie Shaw had done the research that has been attached to your agenda packet concerning the history of the Santa Fe Depot. So after talking with them, I did reach out to Caleb West, one of the principal owners of Pondaseta Brewing Company, LLC, and couldn't get a hold of Trevor Martin, but talked to Tracy Martin, his dad, and his dad told me that Trevor usually doesn't pay attention to his phone during the day because he's working at the facility and can't hear it anyway, so he's busy working and really doesn't pay attention to it. So Caleb and I talked, and Caleb is very much in favor. You know, they're our lessee under the 380 agreement on Pondaseta Brewing Company, very much in favor of placing a historical marker at the Santa Fe Depot. I mean, this is really a historic site. Canyon has been there over 100 years, and I'd like to invite them to make comments on it, on some details, if they'd like to do so at this time. Mr. Root or Becky, do y'all have any comments?
I think Becky is signed in too. So.
Becky signed in? Okay, great.
I'm Becky Hart, and I'm the historical chairman. There seems sometimes when people get a historical marker, there's a little confusion. This is the first time we've ever had to go through the city to get a historical marker, and I've only done this for 3 years, and I did not know that we had to come through you because of the way the lease agreement. So, the marker narrative is finished, and it's for the Santa Fe Depot, and it's been already submitted to the state. We just haven't finished it because we need the signature of the city of Canyon to proceed, because you own part of the property. You own the property. So is there any questions about getting the historical marker? Or?
It's a little bit rare to have this situation presented because ordinarily it's a private property owner that has to sign off on it. Really, we very seldom have occasion to look at city-owned property that has the historic designation. This is one of those rare occasions that we do. And so the research that Becky referred to has been attached in your agenda packet on this designation. Like I say, Pondaseta Brewing Company, who now occupies that property under our 380 agreement, is the lessee. they'll probably have to sign off on it by request of the State Historical Commission. But the city, as owner of the Santa Fe Depot, will have to sign off on it as well, which is the reason we wanted to bring it before the commission tonight.
We've had many years of success at receiving these plaques. When we apply, we typically get them, and that's not a fact in all the counties. We have a very good batting average.
Yes, thanks to Harold.
We appreciate that.
Yes.
So Ricky, can you tell me if we do the marker, does that prevent any further changes in the building? Okay, that's what I want.
There is a little clause that they put in there that you let them know if you're gonna do a major change. But I have talked to them several times in Austin, and they really work with the homeowner or the owner of the property. Like, so, and there's not any restrictions as far as, you know, if you were to wipe out the front part and put something ultra-modern in front, you know, they would wanna know, and they would, you know, the marker
That would be a significant change to it.
for the site.
Gotcha, okay.
And it is Randall County pays for those markers, if you didn't know. And so, it is not a long, it is a long process, it's usually 2 to 3 years before the marker actually shows up right now, so.
It's kind of like our centennial marker ended up in front of the courthouse. I think Mr. Root found that and rescued it from a silted-in environment and actually pressure washed it and put it out in front of the courthouse where it belonged. Harold, where'd you find that? Out at the roadside park?
I have a hard time hearing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add one little bit. Texas has the largest marker program in the United States. And we got 3 types of markers. We got cemetery, subject marker for just individuals or happening, and then a building marker, which is RTHL, so recorded Texas historical landmark. That's what we're asking for here because the depot is that. But it's kind of odd here. Here we are at the end of the program. You guys been talking about the future and all things that are going to happen. We're asking you to look 100 years back to the depot. And that old adage, if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. That's what we do all the time. That's why they call me a hysterical instead of history. Anyway, Becky's done a wonderful job. It takes a lot of work. I've been involved in over 20 of these. I've never had any trouble with the negative that always comes up to the surface. The reason anybody wants one of these markers, they want to preserve the history. I mean, that's a unified thing. But this again shows the cooperation between Brandon County and the city. Anyway, we appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
And Harold, I read somewhere also that when they opened that depot in Cousins Hall, the city hosted a banquet.
Yes.
And there were like 200 people or 300 people.
That's the story that we're telling. That's just like there's a story on the marker on this building that tells about the city of Canaan in the early days.
Correct.
We have one on the fire department that tells a story. It's on that marker. That's why the markers are so important. They tell a story.
Our community gathered and celebrated the opening of it.
And also, once you get a recorded Texas historical marker, you can apply for the National Historic Marker, which is very prestigious, and the owner has to apply for that. But like Panhandle, Santa Fe Depot has that designation, and I don't know, we should have that too. But anyway, and I will tell you that anything construction-wise, you know, they've already done the construction, and they've preserved what they needed to preserve. So it's just a matter of we need a signature, and they all have to sign off in the city.
I move to authorize the submission of the application.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. So, thank you, Becky, and Harold as well. Appreciate what you all do, helping us preserve our history. And, it's appropriate you all be here today for firefighting families too. Just thinking about Wiley and Dan and out and about. So we appreciate your families on both aspects there. So appreciate you much. All right, takes us to item number 15, discussion of city fund balance and multi-year recovery plan. Looks like, Joe, you heading it up with Joel and Bo?
We're tag teaming it. So the ideal is to look at that projected fund reserve schedule right there. It's at the end of the packet. And you can kind of just see how we've lined it out on the operation. So you'll have projected operating expenses at the top, and then we have the minimum target levels right there, and see as it goes. I mean, as we increase our budgets, that moves up with the budget on the expenses. With the sale of some assets coming in the next 30 to 90 days, those funds will go directly in there. I have to zoom in, Megan, quite a bit. I have to imagine. Yeah, here, let's scoot all the way over. Perfect. And so we're looking at this. The hard part on this is this, Mr. Wright said earlier, this snapshot changes at every moment of time. Right now we're at our highest cash time. The lowest cash time will be in October. And so we look at this at the end of the fiscal year, September, October per policy. And so these are the projected numbers that we have. We have a current combined unsigned fund balance of about 2.6. We look to add some operational contingencies that Bo has been doing in the budget. You can see those under general fund and utility fund. And then we're going to have sale of property at about 2.17. That includes the $2 million for the sale, includes 100,000 or 90-ish, some change left over, and then probably the sale of the house that we have over here on the north side. And so that's what's included in there. And then you can see as we go along, we will make traction about fiscal year 31-32. And so you can see in the bottom variance for minimum targets, reserve level, that shows you the deficiencies of us being below. And so in 30-31, we'll start adding 200 as we go. So if we get some of that land money sooner, which is still a possibility, that the land money may come in sooner, that we will.
Our BSA folks, thank you all
Thank
again.
y'all.
Appreciate what you do. So, excuse me, Joe.
Yep, go ahead. And so if some of that money does come in sooner, but there is still a possibility of that happening right now in discussions, we'll apply some of that to there. But that's what those $200,000 payments are, those additional land sales over the years going through there. So, Bo, Joel, y'all want to add anything, a comment? I did mention, I was the one to mention, I'd like to move utility fund from 15% to 20% eventually, once we get back to the minimum target too. That's probably would start in, start that in 32, 33?
That was in fiscal year.
In 30-31.
There, 31. Mr. Wright, you have anything to add to this?
Well, I think kudos. I think this is really good planning to go down this road and have an active plan to get us back to where
We need to be.
we need to be. All right.
I would say it's gonna be a struggle to maintain this plan as we go through the budget. As we start looking for places to cut and balance the budget, this is gonna be real tempting.
No actions required on this, Mr. Mayor, per our policy. We just have presented our plan. So as things come along, if more, we're able to put some more over there, we will.
Very good. And yeah, I don't know that I fully understand how much that reserve, just think, oh, we're trying to keep this level, but how much it does fluctuate through the year and all too. And so, yeah, I think it's really appropriate to, yeah, makes sense to really measure that target at the end of the fiscal year and all too. So,
We have to operate on, our challenge operationally is operating October through December cash flow. Because taxes don't come in until December and January. So we have to have that cash flow. It gets replenished. But those property tax revenues, that's when they all come in.
all right. Any other questions on that or the details of it? Or I know Joe and Bo want to sit down and visit with you more.
We spent quite a few meetings on this, dialoguing. I think we all feel comfortable. And we're really engaged.
All right, with that, takes us to executive session. We do not have anything at this point on executive.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Well, did we want to talk about, real estate? It's on the agenda for exec.
Which one?
I was thinking that we were.
I think there is one item we need to talk about. On exec.
Here, I can step out for a second and have that discussion real quick.
They can come up with something.
No,
There's no way. It doesn't matter. They're gonna come up with something.
What if they don't like it?
no, please don't.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have just a one legal real estate context question that we do need to sort. I expect it to be fairly short.
100%.
With that then, we will adjourn into exec session pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.072, deliberations about real property. And looks like we're at 6:21. So.
Yep.